Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and the NECA Mothra figure has literally just arrived at my doorstep, so what better time to make a video on it than right now? As you can see, the box is pretty similar to the recent Godzilla figure, only with pictures of Mothra on it instead of pictures of Godzilla. And the image on the front appears to be of concept art for Mothra, because it does look slightly different than what we saw in the movie, and slightly different from what we see inside the box, which is a very tiny little bug. But I'm gonna open this and we will get a better sense of what this looks like once it's out of the box. Okay, so once the figure is out of the box, you have three pieces to contend with: Mothra herself, the base, and the clear support rod to create the illusion of flight. And just so you know, you have to be very careful taking this out of the box. This is a much smaller and far more delicate figure than your average NECA kaiju, or heck, just your average NECA figure in general. In fact, just to give you a sense of how small this really is, here's the recent NECA Godzilla figure. You see that? That is quite a difference. But I just wanted to show you how it looks once you have all the pieces out, but they're not together. And to give you that sense of scale, I will now put the support rod into the base, and we will see how it looks overall from there. So there is a hole in the base of the cocoon, which, let's actually get some detail on that first. The detail is pretty good, all things considered. You have the artificial construct for Monarch with the bursting open of the cocoon that has some nice metallic colors to it. Mostly black with some green highlights and some blue around this broken base, and the mechanical part is all silver with some black. And the rod, of course, is clear. It has a little part that fits in like that, slides in pretty easily, and Mothra should fit in. Well, let's actually take a look at this before I do something stupid. There appears to be a little notch in here that Mothra could fit into, and looking at the body itself, the middle section might be where it goes. So rather than try to fumble with that with my hands over here and my head behind the camera, I'll get back to you. So this is how it looks when it's all put together. I managed to get Mothra into the stand without much hassle. I was being very delicate. I don't even know how she got into the stand. I was just trying to fit her in there and she just popped into the notch. So there you have it. Just be careful, because Mothra is pretty fragile. And to give you a sense of how tall the overall assembly is, here's Godzilla again. As you can see, just a little bit taller than he is. But still, there's not as much material here as there is in this hefty guy. Now then, as far as other points about the figure, I already shared with you what I thought about the base, but what about Mothra herself? Well, in terms of articulation, both sets of wings can move independently of each other, as you can see. And all of the legs can move to a certain degree. The two back legs can move back and forth, as can the two front legs. The two front legs have just a little bit of mobility from left to right, but not a whole lot. And that's all the articulation there is. Head and body are all one thing, no movement there. You can turn the rod around on the stand to position her however you want, but that's all for articulation. Now, what about detail? Detail on Mothra herself is really good for a figure that's so small. Let's see if the camera focuses. I mean, the paint job and the sculpting here is really, really impressive for such a tiny figure. Although, the wings are sort of where it doesn't quite match up. If you're not really paying attention, then it doesn't look like that big of a deal, but you can sort of see, like right here, for example, the pattern doesn't quite match from side to side, or the little gray spots in the Godzilla eyes, those aren't quite the same. Overall, it's basically a match, but not perfect. I have a feeling the wings are all painted individually and not necessarily done in pairs. Although, something that's neat about the wings is that they are mildly translucent. There was a video where they mentioned this at a toy convention where these figures premiered. And let's see if I can show you. See that? The wings are just translucent enough that light can pass through them. They're not transparent, obviously, but that is a nice feature. It's a nice little bit of detail that they didn't really have to do, but they did anyway. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what else there is to say about this figure. It's not a bad figure. Again, there are a few little flubs, especially on the wing portion, and given how much of this figure is wing, I mean, that's not necessarily the best thing. But overall, not bad. I have no idea how big the SH Monster Arts figure would be in comparison. I can't imagine it would be too much bigger if it's to scale, but, you know, I still think this is pretty nice, all things considered. And I'm just gonna put these two together again. Remember, according to the movie, these two apparently have a thing going, or they're just symbiotic, it's up to you. But anyway, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the NECA Mothra figure. 2 down, 2 more to go. That being the other Godzilla and Rodan when he eventually shows up. But that's all for now. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it as well as subscribe to the channel for more content of a similar nature. Also, check the description for links to our Twitter, DeviantArt, and Patreon pages, as well as the Amazon link for the novel Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, penned by yours truly. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.